Hey, chat.
What up?
Guess what I did recently?
So, I've heard you played a video game.
I did. It was not just a video game. It was like the ultimate boss battle speed run game possible.
Obviously, you're talking about Farming Simulator 2018.
No. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. That's a different one. This was actually Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. I'm not sure what NT stands for. Probably some weird way that Japan uses next, but it is what it is. However, Final Fantasy Dissidia is not a fighting game. That is the conclusion that I've drawn.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused too when I saw it. It's like, oh yeah, get your ultimate team, your favorite characters, have them work together, and are they gonna fight each other? No, they don't really, do they?
It's kind of like they fight each other. So you have two different fighting modes. One is the summon mode. I forgot exactly what it's called, and the other is just a basic brawl out. So in either mode, the objective is to win. In the brawl mode, it is to defeat your opponent's three-man team. Now, unlike a Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Marvel vs. Capcom or Tekken Tag Tournament where you control your entire team, you just pick your team and you only control your first character that you choose. So, first time I played, I did what I always do when I make teams, and I put the character that I think I'm going to be best with last, and then I pick the character I think I'm going to be worst with first, and then I try to play. Turns out, never got to play as the other guy, so I only played as the character that I was going to be worst with, and got my ass handed to me. Yeah, it's a unique experience. What makes it really different from other fighting games is that when you're battling, you're not immediately doing damage. First, you have to damage their hit points, or I think it's hit points and then health points or something of that nature.
So this is starting to dangerously sound like Smash Bros. A little bit.
It is. It's like Smash Brothers, but it gets even more complicated and ridiculous. Because you do damage. Your first set of damage is essentially to stamina. Is essentially like making your opponent tired. So you beat them up, right? And every time you hit them, the amount of damage you do is the amount of points you collect. And then when they're finally weak enough, they get down to 0 on their stamina points, that's when you can attack their health. And you can only attack their health with the amount of stamina points you have available. So let's say
How long are these fights?
One fight took me like 12 minutes or something like that. It was outrageous. It was the longest thing I've ever done in my life.
And that was one round or like the whole fight?
That was just one round.
What the hell?
Like, because you have to knock out all three characters. Like, but that's one round is the whole fight for the most part. But you have to knock out all three. You have to end all three opponents, and they each have to go through this process.
And it's not even like a normal like face-to-face sort of 2D
it's
platform.
Not. It's like Tenkaichi or like the Naruto series that we got from CyberConnect. Like, it's a very open and running around, and you have to use both analog sticks to control the camera, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not a fan.
I'm not being sold on this game, really.
I'm not a fan. And what really ruined it for me, to be 100% honest, was the layout of the story mode. Once again.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories, but do tell so that the audience can know.
Listen, audience, if you're interested in playing a game with a good storyline, this may not be the one. Final Fantasy Dissidia plays you through things that have happened in other Final Fantasy games. So it just kind of like catches you up on the world of Final Fantasy in this brawler format. But here's the biggest catch that really blew my mind.
Get ready for this, guys.
The only way to play through the story mode is to unlock coins that you use to purchase the following chapters. And you unlock those coins by fighting online or by fighting in single player doing the arcade tower. Problem is, you can't get good enough to play through either of those to unlock coins without playing the story mode or the tutorial, which is, the tutorial was about an hour and a half.
So you have to grind to unlock sections of the story.
Yes.
But the story, you could unlock a cutscene, and then nothing else and have to go back, right? Because
Yeah,
you used
so
your coins on just a cutscene.
Right, and from what I've noticed, each of the pieces of the story mode are valued differently. So like some things are 1 coin and some things are 3 coins. But you don't know what you're gonna get until you buy it. So like the first thing that I bought was a cutscene, and I was like, "Oh, dope!" And then the cutscene ended, and I was like, "Wait a second, I have to get another coin to get the next piece, and that might be a fight." Oh boy,
That doesn't
boy.
sound great.
I don't know what the thought was there.
I mean, there's been games that have implemented that a lot better. That actually reminds me of like the original 2 Saints Row games, where you had to do side activities to unlock respect points to play the campaign.
Yeah,
But that had other fun things to do and plenty to do in it.
Yakuza has a similar concept where there are certain parts of the story mode where you can't progress until you do other things.
But there are
But
tons.
it makes perfect sense because like these other things affect the world around you.
And there's a lot to do, right?
And there's a ton of stuff to do, and it's an open world game that's all story based. You tried to sell me a fighter in like the weirdest brawling way.
I think we know how to fix Dissidia then. Obviously it needs a karaoke minigame.
Yes. Without a karaoke minigame, it's not good. There's no way you're gonna charge me coins for anything unless there's a karaoke mode. 100%.
So what was your dream team though? Well, I'm
It
sure
was
you
hard to
had
say
one
because-
before you came in, and then when you came in, it was like, oh, this was not what
right.
I wanted.
Yeah, I had a dream team going into it, and then after I started playing the game, I realized that there were some characters on my dream team that are not there, and it kind of bothered me because it felt like they had. This is a bad example, but I'm gonna use it anyway. #triggered. It felt like they had to reach a diversity quota.
Oh man.
Like literally, because it felt like they were. So if you look at the roster, it's almost exactly 2 characters per game in the Final Fantasy like franchise. 1 hero, 1 villain. So Final Fantasy 7, Cloud, Sephiroth. Final Fantasy 8, Squall. Drawing a blank on the name. Whatever.
Cypher.
Cypher, yeah. But no, it wasn't Cypher. It's one of like the earlier bosses. But I don't remember their name. They did have Ace. They had Ace from Final Fantasy the War one recently, the first one that was rated M.
Type 0.
Type 0, yes. I still haven't played it. It's funny because I opened Final Fantasy Type 0 to play it, and then like I never put the disc in. It's open, but it's not. It hasn't been played. I don't know. So like there's that. Final Fantasy 13 only had Lightning because who else was important? Final Fantasy 15 only had Noctis because I don't know what happened there. Like it was like these were kind of like afterthought characters is what it felt like. And it makes sense because the city has been out
13,
technically
13
for
could have had Snow.
I never played 13, so
Yeah, it's Troy Baker. That's all you need to know.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I would have been behind that. Anything Troy Baker, I'm behind, honestly. So that there was that part of it. So like I went into it and I was like, yo, I cannot wait to put together a team with like Zack, which is Final Fantasy 7. He's the prelude to Cloud, or Tifa and Barrett, like people from Final Fantasy 7, or going into like Final Fantasy 10, getting to play as Titus, Aaron, Kimura, like all these different characters.
Didn't happen.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Very disappointed because it's literally just a villain. Like it feels like the primary antagonist and the primary protagonist, because you get to, for Final Fantasy X, for example, you have Titus, primary protagonist, and you have Jack, his father, which is the primary antagonist. Spoiler alert. You know, you get
For what?
to
How old is it?
Final Fantasy X. I mean,
It's old enough.
it's old, but it got a remake recently, so I don't know where those rules lie on spoilers with remake.
I don't know either. I just go by the 2-year rule.
All right, well, either way, yeah, it's been 2 years since the remake, so yeah, fuck you guys.
So,
I hate those characters.
So you haven't been able to do the. You're going to be doing the review. How are you feeling? Is this a recommend or is this not a recommend?
I don't know where I stand on recommending, because I feel like if you're a huge fan of Final Fantasy, this game has tons of fan service. It makes you feel at home with the amount of like content that they put in there for people who are fans. But if you're not a super Final Fantasy fan, which is something I learned when I started playing Dissidia, thought I was a way bigger fan than I actually am. Turns out I don't care about Final Fantasy as much as I thought. It's not for you. And the problem is that spectrum is really hard to gauge because, like I said, I thought I was a super fan. And then I played, and I was like, turns out I'm not.
All right. Super fans only.
Super fans only.
Super fans.
Super fans.
So, all right. Now that we know that it didn't have all the best characters, I want you guys to write in the comments who you think the best 3-person team would be. These can be any Final Fantasy characters. Name your ultimate team in the comments. And also, be sure to like and subscribe for more of Hard Mode Gamers. This is Chet.
This is Vega from Hard Mode Gaming. Like, subscribe, and let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
See it there. Peace.